Welcome to Knicks Home Court with your host. My name is Greg Armstrong. This is episode number 92. I'm a little under the weather. I've been doing everything to fight it, and I lost. So I got a little cold. Sorry, folks. It probably sound a little different. But I just can't cue the music. I wish I could. It's like doom and gloom day, you know. It's the worst thing happened last night to Kristaps Porzingis. I got mad. It's just, you know what? The funny thing is, when he landed, I knew he tore his ACL. I knew it. I just didn't even watch the rest of the game. I'm like, and even the Knicks kind of knew it. That's why they got blown out. They were sleepwalking. They were thinking about their teammate. I'm not mad at this loss at all. They were like, yo, they know what happened. And I just want to take a second to curse out some people. Well, hopefully I don't curse too much. I was looking up and down Twitter, and I hope some of the people who listen to this podcast don't think the same way. And some of you may be thinking, oh, good, we can get a good draft pick now. You know, that's what they were doing on Twitter yesterday. Well, there's some upside to it. At least we get a better draft pick. Stupid ass fucking shit. An ACL tear is a fucking 12-month, sometimes 14-month injury, which means Kristaps will miss the first half of 2018-19 season, which means we might suck again. I don't know about you, but I don't want to keep going through sucky-ass seasons. And knowing that the season's gonna suck before it starts really sucks. Not only that, Kristaps will not really be able to work on his game. How's he gonna work on his game this summer? Yeah, he can eat food. He can probably gain weight. He can probably do some upper body stuff. How is he gonna work on his game and his strengthening when he gotta worry about his knee? This is a huge fucking setback in Kristaps' career. I think people don't really get it. Yeah, he'll be back. But you got to understand, I look forward to Kristaps' off seasons and see him come back better and better and better each time. Now, this off season, he's going to be look, he may not even be the player he is now. Not saying forever. Okay, let me be clear. Not saying forever. But what I'm saying is next season, he's probably not going to be as good as he is now. We might not see the good and spry and healthy Kristaps of 2019-20 season. So for all of y'all crazy and stupid motherfuckers out here want to think there's a silver lining, there's none. Only silver lining is if he heals really quickly. It's the only fucking silver lining. He is your franchise. Period. This is terrible. It's not like breaking a leg. Look at Jabari Parker, then tore his ACL a couple of times. This is serious shit. Derrick Rose, all of the players, this is serious fucking shit. Now, again, he's young. That's on his side. He has plenty of time to heal. But remember, Derrick Rose was very young too. But he kept getting injuries. Now, one thing I'll say about Derrick Rose is the way Derrick Rose used to play. If you look at his old films, he used to do a lot of things that puts a lot of torque on your knees. He does a lot of twisting and stopping on a dime and all of that other shit, which was going to lead to injuries because just the way he moves. But if you think of Kristaps, he's 7'3". You think he's not going to put pressure on that knee once he gets healthy again? This is serious fucking shit. And I'm hoping he can have a clean bill of health in a year. Hopefully, 10 months. So for all the stupid ass fans who keeps thinking, oh, well, this silver lining, we'll get a better draft pick. And now we can trade off all our. First of all, I still don't think they should trade all their veterans because Kristaps is coming back. It's not like he's leaving forever, but I don't think they should trade the veterans because, again, you're still not going to get value. Now watch the vultures come at the Knicks. Oh, give us Courtney Lee for a 3rd-round pick, even though there's no such thing as that. I'm just making a point. They're going to come out of the woodwork trying to get the Knicks to sell. They should not sell. They should not make any move that doesn't better this team. I don't want a bunch of fucking 2nd-round draft picks. I don't want second-round draft picks for Courtney Lee. If you give me a first-round draft pick, if you give me look, in the 20s, possibly. With the late second round, 2 years later, possibly. I'm not trading my veterans. Now, the only way I would consider trading them, and it probably wouldn't fully be the betterment for the betterment of the team, but for the betterment for the team in the long run, is if they decide, you know what, we're going to just play all the young guys. We're just going to play all the young guys. We're not going to play the vets. So as a favor to the vets, I guess, we'll trade you to a contender. We appreciate your service. That's the only thing I can think of. But how many young players do they have to play? Okay, they got Billy. I'm not enthused about that. Okay, they got Ntilikina. They don't need to make a trade to start him. They got Damian Dotson. Well, they got Hardaway right in front of him, who also got hurt. Nobody's talking about that shit either. Hardaway got some issues with his legs. I don't know what's going on, and I hope he can remedy that. I hope he can get better. So, and ever since that injury, since he's come back, let me tell you, before he got hurt, he was looking like a borderline all-star. And then he got hurt, and ever since he's been back, he's been tentative. He hasn't been the same player, and it takes time. See, and this is what I want people to see and understand. With Kristaps Porzingis, Hardaway had some leg injury or something like that, right? No real structural injury, just like muscle or whatever. Now he's back. And he's still not really in game shape. He's still not really playing well. It takes, the NBA is a high-level league. You know, it's timing and rhythm and all of that shit. You missing 12 months? You got to almost learn how to play basketball again. So let me also further make my point about improving your draft status. If you look at the standings, conference standings, overall standings, the teams at the bottom, the Knicks will have to lose they'll have to lose the next 20 out of 25 games. Like they literally would have to go like 5 or 3 in like 23 or something to catch those teams. And they're not going to do that. They're going to win some games. They're still going to win some games. Teams like Dallas and teams that are at the bottom, they're not going to squeeze into the top 5. It's not happening. Now, unless the lottery makes it happen. Other than that, the Knicks will probably be around somewhere around 9, 10, 8, 9, 10 again. Now, there's good players in that range. There's good players in the 15 range. This draft is pretty loaded. Some good players. You can get lucky if your scouting does its job and does a really good job. And maybe, just maybe, we can find a gem at the 8th pick or 9th pick or 10th pick. We can find a second franchise guy. Because if you want a championship, you really kind of need 2 franchise guys. Or you need a team full of really good players like Detroit Pistons had. They didn't have franchise guys, but they had a bunch of, put it like this, the Detroit Pistons, the Detroit Pistons with Chauncey Billups had like 4 All-Stars or 5 All-Stars, right? And they didn't have any superstars, but they had the Defensive Player of the Year in Ben Wallace, and they had a bunch of what you would call number 2s. Like their whole team, their whole starting 5 would probably be like, you put them on a contender, they'll be like the 2nd best player or the 3rd best player. So they had that. You know, Chauncey was a star. What's his name? Tayshaun Prince was a great defensive player. Richard Hamilton was a star. Ben Wallace was a star, defensive star. They had Rasheed Wallace, who was a star. Nobody was a franchise player, but they all was like 2nd tier. And when you have that many players who are 2nd tier, you're going to have a really, really good team. So that's because if you look at championship teams, a lot of times what they'll have is maybe 3 players who are top tier. 2 to 3 players who are basically superstars, and a bunch of ancillary parts like role players and things like that, where their role players wouldn't be as good as, like, say, Detroit. Like, for example, when Detroit played LA they had issues, but they had Shaq and Kobe, and I think they had Lamar Odom at that time. Come on. 2 Hall of Famers, 2 are the greatest players that ever played a game, and a very good player in Lamar Odom. I think it was Lamar Odom at that time. I'm not fully sure. And They got crushed by a team who didn't have the stars of Shaq and Kobe, but had all of the other parts. Like, put it like this. Shaq and Kobe were the two best players on the floor. Everybody else was on Detroit was better. That's another way to build a team. So, looking forward to the draft, there's some good players coming out. I really want a really athletic wing, a defensive. I want a two-way wing. I want my Kawhi Leonard. Because if we have a player who's a two-way wing, that with a healthy Kristaps, and Ntilikina finally graduates to the point guard position, and don't get mad, because Hornacek's not going to start him just because Kristaps gets hurt, and I don't think he should just like turn the world upside down because a player got hurt. He shouldn't do that. So yeah, I lost my train of thought. This Kristaps, let me tell you, this Kristaps shit, I'm not even gonna lie. I woke up, I went to bed kind of early because I had to get up early. So I went to bed, and around, you know how you wake up in the middle of the night, like 2:30 in the morning, whatever, to use the bathroom, and take a leak or whatever. And you always grab your phone. I don't know what it is. You grab your phone and you go on Twitter, or you go on Facebook, or you go on Instagram, or just fuck it. Let me just, because my lights will be off, and I'll use the phone light so I don't wake everybody up, and I'll use that, and then I'll go to Twitter, and what does it say? Kristaps tore his ACL. I didn't sleep for another hour. I stood up and I was just thinking. I was sad for the guy. Really sad for the guy. Really sad, man. These guys is brothers. That's why you see it's a fraternity in the NBA. Yeah, they going at it, but they really care about one another. They really, put it like this, one thing that NBA players have in common that makes them always care for one another is they understand, every one of the NBA players understands the struggle at getting there. Even LeBron had to struggle to get to the NBA. Yes, he was hella talented, but don't think he didn't work hard to get where he is. And so they understand what it takes to get to that point, to become a star, to become great. And they also know how you can lose it in an instant. And they also know when you get injured, there's no guarantee you're going to be the same guy again. There's none of that. So they understand all of that shit. So that's why they was all, saying, you'll be strong, come back, you can do it, Kristaps, and all the good encouragement. I know Kristaps was distraught. I know when he got in front of his family, he cried like a baby. I would have. Especially, this is a game you love to play. Come on, man. This shit is just bad fucking news. Like, you never want a player to be hurt with a knee injury, a tall guy, a 7'3" guy, a knee injury, foot or ankle. You don't want that. He would have been better off breaking his arm. He would have been back. He would have probably missed the rest of the season. He would have been, you don't want him to mess up their shoulders either, because they need that. But if he would have broke an arm, even broke a leg, that's why Paul George is doing well. It's the weirdest thing how you can crack your leg, but in between the ankle and the knee, that your shin, you can crack that and heal 100%. Right? It takes a while, but you mess up that ACL, it's a ligament. It's like, I mean, as great as we are with technology and advancements, we can't duplicate certain things like cartilage and ligaments. It's just, maybe one day. And once we do that, we'll turn back the clock on aging. But I'm just saying, so, wow, this is not what I had in mind when I thought rebuild, and when I thought, man, it's devastating, man. I'm not going to lie, Knicks fans. I'm not going to lie. I'm really crushed behind this. I'm really, really upset and sad for him, and just upset because, you know what? It's like he is one of the reasons why you got hope, and now he's hurt. So this draft pick is literally, I know this is probably going to be said over and over again and overstated and overblown, but I'm going to say it myself too. Hot take 101, right? This draft pick is probably the most important draft pick since Ewing. Why is this draft pick so important? because you don't know what Kristaps is going to be when he comes back. You just got to face reality. You don't know what he's going to be when he gets back. You don't know. And you don't know how long it's going to take him. You don't know if he's going to be back in 12 months. You don't know if it's going to take 14 months. So you got to understand, once he's back, Zach LaVine just came back. February. He's been out that long from last year. So next year is a wash. I don't really expect anything from Kristaps next year. That's how bad this is. I do not expect Kristaps to really... All right, say he comes back in February, second half of the season. The Knicks will probably be out the playoffs by then. That's why it behooves them to do all their diligence in scouting. And to me, I believe they should keep their veterans, because they are the ones who will keep the morale. See, veterans don't like losing, obviously. But if they're in a situation where the organization is treating them well and trying to win, but maybe they're not good enough, veterans can deal with that. Last time I checked, Courtney Lee is very professional. Kyle Quinn is very professional. Cancer, what's going to happen now is Cancer's going to score a lot of points. And you're going to see how good Cancer is, because Cancer is really good. People keep thinking Billy Hernan Gomez is nowhere near as good as Cancer. Seriously, Cancer's way better than him. And I just had to state that, because people keep thinking, yeah, they're similar players, but they're not really as, like, he's not as good as Cancer. It's like he makes moves like Cancer, but he's not as good. He doesn't have the presence that Cancer has. Not yet. Maybe he can develop into that. But think about it. He's only 3 years younger. So it's not like he's ever really going to catch him. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, folks, let's keep our head up, Knicks fans. Let's start pounding my next podcast. I'm going to delve deep into college. I have to at this point. There's no other reason not to. And, we're going to see... we're going to talk and figure out who the Knicks should look at and think about drafting. And also, to one of the, somebody asked me, what do I think about, I think his name is Shamari Pons from St. John's. He's a good player. I don't know if he's an NBA player. I don't get caught up in what guys do in college. I mean, I know Trae Young is doing some astronomical stuff. But I try not to, because, you see, college is college. For me, it's all about measurables. Measurables, how fast are you? Because you can be a lethal shooter and just can't get your shot off. That happens to a lot of ball players. They're lethal shooters but can't get their shot off. That's why when J.J. Redick, who tore up college, one of the best college players in history, when he came to the league, he was struggling because he couldn't get his shot off. And then he figured out how to come off screens and get open and move without the ball. And then he became a serviceable to good player. And that's just how it is. So that's why if you look at Doug McDermott, dominated college, gets to the pros, he can't get his own shot. He don't have enough handle. He don't have enough speed, things like that. So there's things to look into. But when I think of the kid Mounds, I don't know if he's really a point guard. He might be a combo guard, which is good. Let's see how the season turns out. I mean, they're not making a tournament, so I don't know. I'm gonna pay more attention to him, but I don't think he's the answer for the Knicks at this point. Like I said, I prefer an athletic small forward / power forward. That's what I'm looking at. I like Wendell Carter. I like Kevin Knox. I love Miles Bridges, and I like what's his name, Michael Bridges or Mikal Bridges. But anyway, folks, we'll get into that in the next podcast. This has been Knicks Home Court, episode number 92. It was really a sad night, but hey, we've been through. I mean, I saw the same thing with Bernard King. I was a little kid, and I remember Bernard King was chasing down Reggie Theus. And Reggie Theus was on the Bulls at the time, and it was like a turnover, and he was chasing him down. He tried to block his shot, and he landed awkwardly, and he started pounding the ground. The same way Kristaps. You can look it up, Bernard King injury, and that was it for Bernard King. He came back, was an all-star, but that was it. Peace.